Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. My name is Kellen, I'm 36, and for most of my life I thought I had a pretty solid grasp on what respect looked like. You treat people well, they treat you well. Simple. But things stopped being simple when I started dating Avery. Avery was magnetic in a way I couldn't quite explain. She had this cool, effortless charm, messy strawberry blonde hair, paint under her nails from her weekend art projects, a laugh that filled every room she walked into. She wasn't the kind of woman you forget. And honestly, that's part of what made everything so confusing. We'd been together almost a year when the whole mess began. Before that, our relationship had been good, really good. She said things like, "I've never felt this safe with anyone." And she'd wrap her arms around my waist like she was afraid I'd disappear. I believed her. I believed all of it. But there was always one shadow hanging over us, her ex, Marlo. Marlo. A guy with a name that sounded like a novelist or a guitar-strumming poet who drinks expensive teas. And according to Avery, he was her first real love. Though it ended badly enough that she cried for 3 days straight when they broke up. I never pushed for details. I figured the past is the past, and everyone deserves to move on. But the past didn't stay in the past. It showed up one Saturday afternoon like it had been waiting for its moment. We were supposed to go to the street food festival downtown. Avery loved those. But just as we were getting ready, she went strangely quiet. Not sad, not angry, just tight. Like her whole body had pulled into itself. She kept checking her phone, her thumb tapping the screen over and over like she was waiting for something. "Kellen," she finally said, her voice strained. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to say yes before I explain." That was the first red flag. But I loved her. So I said, "Okay. What is it?" She swallowed hard. "I need you to apologize to Marlo." I blinked. "Apologize? To your ex? For what?" "For what you said about him," she snapped, suddenly heated. "You called him pathetic. You shouldn't have done that." I remembered the night perfectly. She was telling me a story, one of many, about how emotionally manipulative he'd been. I'd said, "He sounds pathetic." Not to mock, just an honest reaction to someone hurting her repeatedly. "Avery," I said slowly, "I wasn't insulting him. I was defending you." Her breathing went sharp. "I don't care. You had no right to judge him. You need to make it right." I thought she was joking. But then she started pacing, hands shaking, her face flushing red. "You don't understand," she shouted. "You humiliated me by talking about him like that. He found out, Kellen. He messaged me. He's hurt." My stomach dropped. "You still talk to him?" That was when she exploded. "Yes." "Okay. Yes, I talk to him sometimes. That doesn't mean anything. Stop making this about that. The problem is you." Her voice cracked like she was about to cry, but instead she doubled down, screaming now. "You're going to apologize. Right now. You're going to text him and say you're sorry." I stood there stunned, staring at her. The woman I loved was unraveling in front of me over a man she claimed to be done with. And worse, she was defending him with a desperation I'd never seen from her. Not even for me. "Why is his opinion so important to you?" I asked softly. That question turned the room into a storm. Avery stepped toward me, shaking so hard she could barely breathe. "Because you don't get it. Marlo and I shared something deep. You think you can just talk about him like some loser? He isn't a loser. You embarrassed me." Her eyes were wet now, furious and shining. I'd never seen her like this. And then she screamed the line that stayed with me for days after. "You owe him respect. You owe him an apology more than you've ever owed me anything." It was like she'd punched me. The silence that followed wasn't calm. It was suffocating. And in that moment, I realized something I hadn't dared consider. This wasn't about what I'd said. This was about who still lived in her heart. So I did the one thing I didn't expect myself to do. I said, "Fine." She froze, sniffed, and whispered, "Fine what?" "I'll apologize to him." Her shoulders sagged with relief, as if she'd been holding her breath for hours. She didn't know that by saying yes, I wasn't giving in. I was opening the door to something she didn't see coming. Because if she wanted the truth, I was ready to give it to both of them. I sat on the edge of the couch, my phone resting in my palm. Screen dimmed. Avery hovered behind me like a storm cloud listening for thunder. "Go on," she whispered. "Text him." So I opened a new message. I didn't ask her for Marlowe's number. She'd already given it to me months ago when she showed me a photo of him during one of her "you have nothing to worry about" moments. At the time, I'd laughed. Now it felt like a setup. I typed slowly. "Hey Marlowe, this is Kellen. I'd like to apologize for calling you pathetic." Avery made a soft, shaky exhale. For the first time that day, her shoulders loosened. That should have comforted me. Didn't. If anything, the relief in her face told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't fighting for respect. She was fighting for him. I kept typing. "I shouldn't have said that." Avery touched my arm gently, almost lovingly. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're doing the right thing." Her calmness made the whole thing feel surreal. But she didn't see what I wrote next, because I angled the phone slightly away from her. But since we're being honest, I wasn't wrong. My pulse thudded. I kept going. A man who wounds someone he claimed to love isn't strong. He isn't deep. He isn't tragic. He's weak. Avery leaned forward. "Are you done? Let me read it." "Almost," I said and kept typing. "And what's truly pathetic isn't who you were. It's that you still lurk around her life hoping you still matter. I won't insult you again. But I won't pretend you're something noble either." Avery stepped around to look. I hit send before she could. Her breath caught, sharp and brittle. What did you write?" She snatched the phone from my hands and read it. Her face drained of color so fast it looked like she'd been splashed with cold water. "Kellen?" she whispered, horrified. "What did you do?" "I apologized," I said calmly. Then I told the truth. She stared at me like I'd set her house on fire. "He's going to be devastated. He's sensitive. He'll take this personally." "He should," I replied. "Because he shouldn't still have this much power over you." Avery's mouth trembled. She wasn't angry now, she was scared. And that scared me more than any of her yelling. "I can't believe you," she said. "I asked for one thing, and you turned it into an attack." "No," I said, standing. "You did that when you demanded I apologize to a man who mistreated you more in 3 years than I've done in 1. She blinked hard. "You don't understand my connection with him." "Then explain it," I said. "Explain why your ex's feelings matter more than mine. Explain why his opinion can break you, but mine barely shakes you." She didn't answer. Instead, she sank onto the arm of the couch, head in her hands. I don't know," she whispered. "Marlowe and I were complicated." "Complicated," I repeated. "That's what you call emotional dependence you never healed from." Avery winced like I'd struck her. The room went quiet, the kind of quiet that ends things. We didn't speak for nearly a full minute. Her breaths were shallow, fragile, and I felt something inside me fold in on itself, like a page being turned against its will. "I didn't want to hurt you," Avery said finally, wiping her eyes. "I just wanted peace." "Peace doesn't come from protecting the person who broke you," I said. "It comes from choosing yourself. And you didn't choose you today. You chose him." Her throat tightened. "Are you leaving?" "I'm not leaving," I said, stepping closer. "But we're not pretending anymore." She looked up, her eyes red and fearful. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said softly, "I'm done competing with the ghost of a man who didn't love you properly. I won't be measured against him. I won't apologize to him. And I won't live in a relationship where I'm second to a memory." Tears spilled down her cheeks, slow and silent. "Kellen, I don't want to lose you." "You already are," I said gently. "Not because I want out, but because you're still half somewhere else." Her breath broke. "I'll block him," she whispered desperately. "I will. I'll cut him off. I'll do anything." "Avery," I said, "don't do it for me." Do it because you're tired of bleeding for someone who never deserved your loyalty. She froze, staring at me with a kind of dawning grief. Not for me, for herself. For the truth she'd been running from. My phone buzzed. Marlowe's reply. Avery lunged for it, but I picked it up first. The message was short. You're right. That was it. 2 words. And somehow they said everything. Avery covered her mouth. Kellen, I'm so sorry. For the first time all day I believed her. But apology wasn't the point. Clarity was. And clarity had arrived in a way neither of us expected. I sat beside her, gently taking her hand. We can fix this, I said quietly. But only if you stop trying to resurrect something that died a long time ago. Avery nodded, tears sliding down her face. I want to try. With you. Only you. For the first time, her words felt real. And as broken as the day had been, something fragile and honest finally took shape between us. Something that didn't belong to Marlowe, or the past, or the pain she'd carried alone. It belonged to us, and for the first time that felt like enough.